We're going to be dealing briefly a little bit more about coding documents for e-discovery using relativity. We're going to be focusing most of the time in this session on something called DT searching. And we're going to get into the keyword searches. It's a little simpler, but going into all those. And then I've also added a little bit about something called regex expressions provided by relativity. And I do have a PowerPoint I added, regex expressions. This isn't commonly used, but it is a search mode that I thought I should touch upon after having had some questions about this from classes I teach from students. So I've added that to our list of PowerPoints, and hopefully we'll have a chance to get to those. And they're there for you as well to look at after the session or beforehand if you want to come back and review any of these PowerPoints before we actually get into the session. They're there for you based on our course website. I've also provided links here with videos from relativity that are very good and deal with these same topics. So feel free after our session today, if you want to look at these videos that they provide on these topics, I thought it would be good to give you the links. And so these are links to take you right to those videos provided by relativity. You might have to have an updated version of Flash Player on your computer to play these. And so if they don't work, you need to talk with your IT department about getting an update on your Flash Player so you can play the videos. And most of Relativity's videos are using the Flash Player utility program. Okay, so let's take a look at a PowerPoint I have here on the coding of documents. We'll take a look at that first. We've done some of this already, so this will be fairly quick. So the basic idea with regard to coding documents is to have instructions as to the way, what you're looking for in the documents. The core reviewer interface allows you to work with the documents in such a way that you can navigate through them. We've done a lot of navigation already, but the coding of the documents and then using document skip and a little bit of the view help and adding choices. So let's get into this with the coding of documents. So these will be the two main screens we'll be focusing on. The main area of the layout, this will be the document itself, and then you've got your coding layout over here. And as we look at the coding, this particular screen talks about a second pass review. So someone has already selected this particular document for you to take a look at. Normally that means that they have chosen it as a responsive document or that it needs further review. And so that this is the second time someone is looking at it. And what you're taking a look at is if there's anything confidential, highly confidential, attorney's eyes only, confidential subject subject to a protective order, highly confidential subject to a protective order. And then down below you have issue designation, whether it has to deal with trading, energy, corporate, fraud, or financial. And these will, of course, all depend upon the case, and your case administrator and manager is going to give you a listing of these before you actually get into the coding process, so you know what you're looking for. But it will depend on your careful reading over of the document. And so the review process involves a very careful reading of the document itself before you go crazy with clicking on any of these particular designations. And so like if we're looking at this document over here on the left, we look down here, it says, I would particularly like to talk to every crude and refined supply and trading organization out there. So we can see that this has to deal with some possible conversations that the person is wanting to have with the crude and refined supply companies. And I look over here to see if there's anything that might be related to, and look up here. Okay, we'll get on the crude oil list right away. I'll touch base with John Nolan. I assume that gas and power is still in an area we will hold off on from now on. So you kind of read this over and you have to say, now, is that something? This is from David Forrester. And it was sent on this date to Andy Zipper. Now, you have to kind of look and see, is this an attorney sending an email or getting an email from a client and so on. So you have to kind of read the context and then do your coding over here. So what is the layout? A form that allows a user to display and interact with the document. These are fully customizable, so that layout on the right is going to be customized. You can't really tell just by looking at the one I showed you what yours will look like. It will enhance your experience with the document because it will be giving you a layout of the document and the panel on the right. It will also drive your workflow, depending on the case customized layouts that are provided to you. The first thing you will need to do is, as you're coding your documents, is open the document by either selecting the control number or the edit link that's next to it. So you can click here on the control number or pick edit to open that particular document that you're working with. Now over here on the left, you can see that in the browser panel, we're in folder view, as we've talked about before, and the documents that have been selected are the subfolders. So there's only 4 of them under cache, Michelle, cache, and then we have this subfolder, and we're looking at these 4 distinct documents in that subfolder. So this is how we would open the documents, clicking on edit or the control number. After you click the control number, the document will open up in a read-only view, and that's all you're doing here. And then the layout must be in edit mode if you're going to be doing coding. So you have to make sure that you click on edit to do the coding in the panel over here. And then this screen gives you the document information. Under the section called Review Coding, you can only choose one responsive designation. So these are mutually exclusive radio buttons. They're not check boxes. So one of the things about coding is if it's a round circle, then those are mutually exclusive options. However, if they're check boxes, then normally you can check more than one of these designations. And then once you've coded in this area, you're going to pick Save and Next to go on to the next document. And once you've coded that document, you've clicked Save and Next. The next document will come up automatically in the list that you have. If your current document is similar to your previous document, you can simply click Copy from Previous, and the responsive and the issue designation that were applied to the last document will be selected and applied to this one. And then you could pick Save to go on to the next one. I would caution you on this, however, in that remember, you're going to have to be doing a careful reading of the document that's in the left-hand panel. And after you've read, especially if it's a multi-page document, a Word document that is quite long, and you're done reading it, you might think, oh yeah, the last document was responsive and it was regarding trading. You might remember all those things, but a little pea brain like mine, sometimes I think, yeah, that was the way it was, that, oh, I'll just copy from previous. No, you don't want to do that unless you're absolutely certain. And I usually don't use copy from previous unless it's a pretty short document and I'm absolutely confident that I am going to be coding this next document properly. So it's a kind of a dangerous click to use, and I'd use it, even though it saves a little bit of time, I'd use it very carefully in your review process. If you want to take a few notes, I usually have a notepad next to my computer when I'm coding, and I will jot down how I coded that previous document. And so then when I have reviewed the document, I can take a look at my notes real quick and then, oh yeah, that's exactly what I want to do, and copy from previous. You can do that, or you can go back to the previous document and check what you did, but then you got to come back to your other document and so on. So you have to decide how you're going to proceed in that regard. Each document is automatically set to a first pass. We saw that the other one was a second pass. And so when clicking privilege review, two different boxes will come up. One will be a document metadata, and the other will be the privilege coding. And you are able then to fill in the lines that apply, as you can see below. The document metadata, you can fill that in if you see some other information that you're going to be typing in there based on your eyeballing of the document. If it isn't contained in the metadata, and it ought to be, then you can type in this information. And then the privilege coding, responsive designation and issue designation, and those things that are populated, and you may need to type those in as well. So that's all that really wanted to cover on the coding issue. I want to come back now into our another topic, and that is our DT searching. This will take a lot longer time, and I think is pretty important for us to take a look at when you're searching through your documents for particular documents that you've been asked to kind of find for the case. So in this tutorial, we'll cover how to use DT searching. DT search uses what is called proximity searching. We'll cover that. Stemming. Stemming has to do with a document that is sort of a root document, and then other documents that are based upon that root, like invent or inventing or invention. So the word invent would be your root, and then the others are words that stem off of that. We'll show you how to go about that. Fuzziness operators, so that fuzziness pertains to, well, it's best to show you that, I think. So fuzziness can mean a number of things, and we'll take a look at the operators that you use in searching when you're doing fuzzy searches. And then Boolean operators like and, or, we'll get into those as well. These are only available in workspaces where the DT search index is enabled, and your case manager, your administrator of the relativity installation, most likely, and almost 100% of cases, are going to be enabling DT search indexing. Because it's a lot quicker, it gives a lot more flexibility in your searching, and as you'll see, provides you with a lot more power and discovering relevant documents than simple key word searching. Okay. So we'll get started here. The first thing that we need to do is go up to the search option. First, we've opened our workspace, Salt versus Pepper, at the top folder level. And we go now over to the search window, and we click here. And this will open up this area here. I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit, show you that. So we can do a keyword search or a DT search. Those are the options that we have been enabled for us in our workspace. So we're going to click on then DT search. And then our DT search window opens up, You can see that it's focused here on DT search, and we're going to be typing in the word trade. All right, and after we type that in, and we click on the word search over here, and we can see just by typing in the simple word trade in this workspace, salt versus pepper, we have 220 documents that match this term trade. And so now what we're going to do is use our DT search option called proximity searching to see what happens when we use this filter, not a filter really, it's a proximity nomenclature, W/5 with market. So what this is going to do is it's going to look for the word trade, but also within 5 words, find also documents that have the word market as a part of the content of that document. So W/5 is the syntax that you use for this particular type of proximity searching. If we typed in W/10 or 20, we would have the ability to look for the word market within 10 words of the word trade. So we type this in, and then we click on search. And now we see that the document list has been restricted to only 10 hits. You can see we only have 10 listed below. And just so these documents all have to, in order to meet this criterion in our search, have the word market within approximately 5 words of the word trade. And so if we want to take a look at what one of these documents looks like and see what is going on in there, we click on the control number or edit of the document and bring it up. And we see now in this document, we see the word market is included, the word trade is included, and the word market is included down in this particular area. Now you might look carefully in here and see if the word trade is within 5 words of the word market. And in some cases it will not be. It will include the word market even though it isn't within 5 words of the word trade. But it definitely will include the documents that have the word market within 5 words. And that's why this document is included, because trade and market in this particular part of the document are within 5 words of each other. And then the word market will appear. If trade was somewhere else in here, it would show up as well. But this document is included only because these 2 words within the context of this whole document are occurring within 5 words of each other. All right. And you notice each of the terms that are used in this DT search are highlighted. In this case, in yellow, because that was the color it was designated by the case administrator. So now, when we want to go back to our search option, when we're doing DT searching or other searching, we need to return to our document list. So we'll click up here. And then after you've done a search, you need to remember always, instead of just typing something else in there, I would always pick clear the search. And now we're going to do something called stemming. This allows you to search for a root word and all the other words that stem from that word, that root word. So in this case, invite is our root word, but invitation, inviting, and any other words that are based off this basic root word are going to be found. And you can see the tilde symbol, and on most of your keyboards, depending on what kind of keyboard you're using, going to have to look for that symbol to find it on the keyboard, but that's called the tilde. And so you type invite, you put the tilde in to your search terms. And now you'll see that we're still in the same workspace, salt versus pepper. And we have now found there are 25 documents that are contained in this result. And if we click on the control number or the edit, we'll bring up a document that has the word invited in it. But unlike in the previous proximity searching, we don't see the terms highlighted. If you want to actually go and find the word invite, we can type in here and it will go and find invite, that first part of the word, and it will find it and highlight it in the document. So you can type in invite, and we know that that document then contains that particular root word. And if it doesn't find invite, it will find other words that stem off of the word invite as well. And now we're going to return back to the document list. And now we're going to move into something called fuzzy searching. Before we do, however, we pick clear. And remember, we're still in DT searching as our choice. So now fuzzy searching involves using wildcard called the % sign. And so why we use fuzzy searching is that there can be words that are spelled differently, either because of a typo or because of different spelling conventions, depending upon if it's British English or American English and so on. So fuzziness searching helps us find misspelled words, and this is basically what we're doing here. If we have an extra character in this particular word for apple, for example, it's going to find that particular term. So we're going to look at using a fuzzy search here. I'm going to zoom in on this. And now you can see we're doing contract, but we're putting in the % symbols in here to see what maybe somebody misspelled the word contract, and we'll put a couple % symbols in there so the fuzzy searching will work for us. And now the results will be that we have found 405 terms using the fuzzy searching. So each of these documents are going to have the word contract or contact or whatever misspelling or other words could be spelled using these particular characters, these two characters that we have put % symbols in for. So this is a kind of handy way, especially to look for, what I use it for is looking for documents where the word contract might have a typo or might have an extra, an extra character in it, that kind of thing, if I suspect that someone is a poor typist. And when I start using fuzzy searching is when I've been reviewing some documents and I've noticed a particular person or persons have a habit of not being too precise in their spelling habits, or they have poor typing skills, and then I tend to lean toward using the fuzzy searching so I don't overlook documents by just using key words and terms and so on. The DT searching fuzziness can really help out in this regard. Now, another way of using DT searching is using the dictionary option to work with the fuzziness control level. So what we're going to do now is in this area of the search box, when you click DT searching, you're going to see the word dictionary appear. And so we're going to click there. And once we do, this panel over here opens up. So the dictionary search allows us to pick what is called a fuzziness level. So if you pick 2, that means a 2-letter difference choice in the spelling of the particular word. If you want to choose 3 because you think there could be a 3-level mistake or a different way of spelling the term, you can pick 3, and so all the way down to 10 in your fuzziness levels. We'll pick 2 here, and once you do choose that, 2, this panel comes up and it will have the number 2 in there, and then you click search. And then what will happen in the dictionary search panel is you will see the different words that are in the different documents and the total number of words that occur with these fuzziness operators, contact, contract, contracts, contrast is in there as well. And so then you might say, well, I really don't want to have the search bring up all the documents with the word contrast in it. That's not really what this is all about. So you wouldn't put a check mark in front of this particular fuzzy term that's been found. But maybe you just put a check mark in front of each of these. So you click in these, put an X in the boxes of the ones that you want. If you want to choose all of these terms, because you're wanting to, you think all of these terms are relevant to your searching, you can see the total number of documents you're going to be looking at over here. Then you can go ahead and copy all the selected terms. You click on the keyword here, that will select all of these, and then you pick copy. So again, if I want all of these, I click on this checkbox. It will put check marks in front of all of them, and then I would pick copy selected key terms. Once I've copied that, click there, then this box comes up and it will show you the actual, let me zoom in on that a little bit, show you this. Once you've clicked on all of them, it puts in contact or contract or contracts or contrast. So this is the search phrase that you need now to copy and paste into the actual search box up above. And so to copy that, you're going to right button click on this phrase and then pick copy. So I'd right button click on that and then pick copy, which if you right button click, this window shows up here and then the word copy. So you click copy. And now it puts this particular search phrase into memory. And then you will go to the search panel itself. After you click the X, you've got to click X here to get out of this after you've copied that. Click that. And then you right button click in the search term area and you pick paste, or you could control V and paste in that phrase into the search term area. And then you would click on the word search to enable the searching. And then what you get as a result here, 510 documents, which will either include contact or contract or contracts or contrast. So probably I wouldn't have picked this last term in this particular phrase, but this is just sort of a experiment here to show you how this works. And so I've got 510 documents, and then you'd go through and click on the documents to take a look at the documents and see where that term occurs. So after this DT search, for example, on this phrase, fuzziness search, we can apply an additional filter. And that's what the little funnel icon is for. So pretend below all those documents are listed that you can't see here now. But now we're going to do is in this DT search, apply a filter. And that's what we're about to do. We click here. And then when you click on the filter icon, this bar shows up. So you can do a filter on a control number if you know what a control number is of documents, a group identification, a custodian, and so on, or a sort date. In this case, we're going to do an email. We want a word that must appear if it's an email in the subject line, and so we type in the word gas. And then to initiate that filter, you'd press enter. And now you can see the filter in this fuzziness search has only brought up 13 documents that are listed down below out of all those documents we saw earlier. So even though we have this string in our search terms, now because we've applied the gas filter, out of all the documents that match these, we now only have 13 to look through. So that's a way of further filtering out documents that are not relevant to what you're looking for in your attempt to find documents that are relevant to your concern. Okay, and so if you do have the word gas in there, you could put any other word in there, of course, and it would filter even further. So that PowerPoint is up there for you and to take a look at with regard to DT searching. So now I want to go to keyword searching. And keywords searching is basically the default search option in relativity, and it does allow for Boolean logic using and, or, etc., or wildcards like the asterisk, question mark. You can use parentheses, and you could use nested and quoted terms as well. So those are the things that you can, operators you can use for your keyword searching. Now, one thing about keyword searching is this, that when you have requested a production from the other side and they produce these documents for you, you have normally provided them with a bunch of keywords that you wanted them to use in searching through their massive number of documents and to find the documents you're interested in, along with other parameters, of course. And so those are the keywords that you are probably going to be provided a list of when you're doing your review of the documents that you have received. If, however, you're using relativity to produce documents to the other side out of your client's documents, then you're going to be using the keywords that the other side has provided to you to find the documents for production. So depending on which way you're going, the keyword searching is relevant in both directions. So what you do then is open the search drop-down box here. Again, you're in your folder, salt versus pepper, your workspace, your top level. You have to be careful here because when you're doing a review and looking for documents, you don't want to be in a subfolder. Normally you'll be at the top level when you're doing this searching. So you're going to open the search drop-down box and select keyword search to bring up the search bar. So we click there, and then this again, we use DT search. Now we're going to pick on keyword search. And this will bring up that search term box like we saw before, but now you can see we have keyword searching going on here. And then before, and just a reminder, you begin that search, I think I already reminded you, Jeff, ensure you're in the correct data set by selecting your desired folder and basic search settings. So up here, we're doing salt versus pepper. We're searching through all the documents in this folder and subfolders. So make sure these are all set the way you want before you actually launch a search using a key term. So we're going to search for investment. So we type that in and we insert, we click on the search option. And then you get a listing of the documents. Here we have 171 of the documents that have the word investment in them. And then to see what they are, we click on the item's control number. And you can see we're viewing the first of 171 documents. And to select the go to next option, we'll go to the next highlighted term that occurs in your search. So up here at the top, and you'll see this is a document that automatically will show you in the color that your case manager has determined when you're using key terms what the color will be for that word. And you can see it shows up here in this paragraph. And then if you want to go to the next occurrence, if there is one, of that term in this particular document, you're going to click on this icon up here that will go forward to the next occurrence, and it will show you another word investment in that document. So you can search for additional keywords using that bar at the top. When you're done, you select Return to Document List to go back to the search results. And that will take you back to where you were before. And then when you end your search, again, very important that you, once you've done your search, you want to clear your search out by clicking here. So to perform a wildcard search using your keywords, you're going to type in a part of the word, as I've done here, and then put the asterisk in there. If you suspect maybe there, depending on the word you're using, like invest here, if we would take out VEST and put the asterisk right in front of IN, that's not going to be a very valuable search whatsoever. So you have to kind of figure out what portion of a keyword is most important when you use your wildcards. So invest, put the asterisk in there, is going to find investment or investing, investigation, and so on. So you can also do multiple search terms and wildcard searches, and they can be combined to narrow your searches. So here we're looking for invest with a wildcard, investing, and so on. And then put the Boolean operator in there, and then the word Samson. So now we'd be finding all the documents that have the word investment in them and the word Samson in them. If we search for those. And now we notice that the results that we bring back are much fewer. So we only have really 3 documents that have the word invest or investing and the word Samson in them in this case. So now if you use searches an awful lot like this, you can save your searches by clicking on the button at the top. Viewed save searches by clicking on that button. I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. So this is your save search option. And if you have other searches that you wanted to do, then later using that same parameter, you could click there to save it. And then at the bottom of the screen. If you want to view your saved searches, you could click here to choose one of the saved searches so you don't have to type in these search terms with the Boolean operators. So you can click the conditions icon to open that conditions search bar and drop down menu. Click there. And then the folder sidebar can be closed to give more room for viewing your searches. So if you want to close this folder down to have more viewing of the columns of data, you click on this arrow and select the field drop-down box to choose a specific search type. So you can go through here and pick, if you're doing a field searching, you can pick a particular field type that you want to search on. So you have like conversation, you can pick date created, and then these fields will also limit the number of documents that you're searching on when you type in your keywords up here. You can select an operator and then enter your search terms. So you have these options here. If you're not too familiar with what the Boolean operators are, you pick the pull-down menu here to choose those. And you can also pick a date using this option here, the date sent. So this is using your keyword searching as well. I'm going to come back to our options. So we've covered the coding documents, DT searching, and keyword searching. And I did add a little bit about the regarding expressions, the regarding expressions searching option. And there is a PowerPoint here that I'm going to bring up at this point to talk about this. So regex expressions is an older type of searching. I haven't used it an awful lot. I haven't found it too terribly useful, but I did have some questions about this, so I wanted to bring up a short tutorial. There's a whole hour-and-a-half video, I believe, that I've linked to that you can go into this, but you can judge for yourself if you think you need more information about regular expression searching. Regular expressions, commonly referred to as regex, constitute a little bit of an arcane pattern searching language that even some programmers actually do not understand. So you can think of regex like Latin. It may be a dead language, but in some very unusual situations, it can be useful. And that's what I want to show you, where it can become useful, so you know whether you want to delve more deeply into this. Regular expressions allow one to construct a single search string to search for a pattern of characters rather than having to construct multiple search strings to return the desired results. Regex provides a simple yet powerful method for searching data in relativity. So quick tips on DT search regex. And again, this is a DT search option, and regex as a part of your DT searching has to be enabled by your case manager, and they will tell you if it is and tell you why as well, because they think it's going to be useful. Your case managers will have been trained as to when in a certain case regex should be enabled for the reviewers. So you can activate regex in DT search by encapsulating your search string with this particular convention. The quotation mark, a pound sign, and then you close it with the pound sign and the quotation mark. There is nothing extra to install, so your case manager, as they're going to have you use regex, will tell you about it and say that you're supposed to use it, and probably have you take the tutorial that is provided by relativity in a lot more detail than what I'm doing here. But I do want to show you the basics of it in case it comes up for you. Thus, a DT search regex would look something like this. I'll explain this as we go along. You would put the quotation mark, pound, pound, and then brackets, A-Z bracket, then your braces, 4 braces, minus, then your brackets, 0-9, a bracket, and then your braces, a 4, and another brace with your quotation mark. The 2 pounds signs in front of the phrase signals to DT search that that it's to treat this like an encapsulated string as a regex. Symbols such as a pound and an exclamation mark and a dollar sign can be made searchable by adjusting the DT search alphabet file, and I've done that for the purposes of this session that we're going through. Your case manager would have to adjust this so that these characters can show up and be used as well. So here's a scenario to use the regex searching. Your case team needs to find documents that contain Bates numbers beginning with the prefix REL with a padding of 6. So here are some Bates numbers, REL, and then you have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. But you can see the characters are all different, but they're all padded with 6. So REL padded with 6 characters. If you use a regular wildcard search, like in your keyword, in your DT searching, like REL asterisk, this will bring back overly inclusive results. Because remember, we're only looking for these particular Bates types numbers. It will hit and any term beginning with REL, such as relative, relational, relieve, etc., as well as find all the Bates numbers. You have way too many hits if that's what you're looking for, are these Bates numbers. But by using the following regex expression, you can limit the search to hit only those terms that begin with REL and are followed by 6 digits. Remember to use only lowercase. So even though the Bates numbers might use uppercase, don't use your uppercase letters in your regex expression searching. Only use lowercase. So REL, then you've got your bracket, 0 minus 9, another bracket, and then you have the delimiter, which is, and notice this is numbers 0 through 9, so it's going to be looking for numbers only, and it's only going to be looking for 6 characters. So that's the meaning of this regex expression. REL, that has to be the preface of this particular string, and then the characters is looking for only the characters 0 through 9, and it also will only look for 6 more characters in the string. Now, using this case scenario, and we actually use this search, the results that we will get will be just for those particular documents that have these characters in them. If you did not know regex, you would need to construct multiple term query like this one below, NRLT-7596 or JLVW-3727, etc. So you could see that these would be the multiple searches, and you'd have to go on and on with that. Now we're going to go into meta characters as well. Meta characters in regex searching are characters that you put in to search for only whole numbers. /D/W would be for alphanumeric characters. /W for symbols. a period, any alphanumeric character or symbol, and then to apply meta characters, for example, /D/D/D would come up with 274, /WWW would come up with dog and or 274, and then the uppercase W's would come in with characters like these, and the dots would come up with characters 274, dog, etc. So these are regex searching, applying your meta characters. When using regex in searches, where they come in handy is when you're searching for like social security numbers, serial numbers like on computers or products, phone numbers, searching for US, UK, or any other country's phone number patterns, patent numbers, Bates numbers, bank account numbers, invoice numbers, special character combinations such as A and P and so on, and any instance where you're attempting to search for a specific pattern of characters. That's where your regex searching can come in handy. And as I said, there's a whole hour seminar that's provided to you by Relativity on this. I haven't used this an awful lot, and the paralegals that I've worked with and trained haven't found it to be exceptionally useful, except in those rare cases. And then what I would do, if you find that that is something that you're going to be doing, I surely would go to this video provided by Relativity that will get you into a lot more depth in the use of these expressions and how to function with those in your relativity searching. I do want to cover one more thing over here under concept searching that I talked to you a little bit about last week, and that is in relativity, concept searching enables you to find information without precisely phrased queries by applying like a block of text against the database to find documents that have similar conceptual content. This can help prioritize or find important documents. So concept searching is very different from keyword or metadata searching. Concept search performed in relativity analytics reveals conceptual matches between the query and the document quickly and efficiently, so you can focus on the concepts that you deem important. The following table that they provide us illustrates the differences between standard searching and concept searching. So standard method, you find the presence or absence of a query term or block of text. Analytical method derives the potential meaning of a query. Standard method simply looks for matches of query and index docs. Analytical method attempts to understand semantic meaning. The standard method incorporates Boolean logic, and then the analytical method incorporates mathematics. So with standard keyword search, people frequently experience term mismatches where they use different terms to describe the same thing. So like Philippines and Philippines misspellings can come up, jive and jibe, misuse of the word, student and pupil synonyms, pop and soda. So using concept searching, you can submit a query of any size and return documents that contain the concept of the query expression. The match isn't based on any one specific term in the query or the document, and the query and document may share terms or they may not, but they share conceptual meanings. So every term in an analytical index has a position vector in the concept space. So every searchable document also has a vector in the concept space. These vectors, which are close together, share a correlation or conceptual relationship. And so what we're trying to show you here is that these concepts that you're going to be searching through on your analytics provide you with a matching in the following areas. For example, language contains many obstacles that prevent keyword search from effectiveness. These issues revolve around term mismatches. A single word can have many meanings, like you can have the word cold and frigid, multiple words, cold and frigid. Some words have specialized meanings within a certain context or group, but concept searching is more accurate in this way because it circumvents these kind of issues that you have. So let's come down to running a concept search in the viewer. To run a concept search from the viewer, perform the following steps. You select a document from the document list and then open it in Relativity Viewer. And then you highlight a section of text and then right-click the text to display a set of menu options. So you can hover over the analytics and then click Concept Search. And the conceptual hits display in the search results related pane. The results are sorted by a rank, and the minimum coherence rank used for the right-click concept search is 0.60. This value is not configurable. So you can see here we have some concept searches that are the results. The minimum coherence rank measures the conceptual distance between a document and all their items in the index from where the query was mapped. The higher the rank, the higher the relevance to the query. So running a concept search from the Documents tab, you would run a concept search following the following. You navigate to the search panel. You add a condition. You select Index Search from the Add Condition dropdown, and then the index search window opens up. You select the Analytics index, and to perform one or more of the following tasks in the concept box, you enter a paragraph, you can enter a document, or a long phrase for a conceptual search. To enter a block of text rather than a single word to get the better results, a single word entry returns broad, unreliable results. To display the fields for a search condition, you can click that magnify glass we saw earlier, and then you can select any of the filters that you want, and then you would click apply. So the concept searching option is something that you might find very useful in your searching as well.